Like I want to Rob and I want to marry Colt. And that's why I'm taking my time. And I will take my time to the last moment if I want to.
Wait. Bisexual?
Yeah.
If we make it to be like a boyfriend and girlfriend,
Yeah.
being bisexual, how do you expect me to have sex with you?
I'll make you nervous?
Yeah.
Why will I make you nervous?
Because you're hot.
Bath with bubbles and beer.
And Usman and Nikki were in that
A
with
different
you?
room.
Okay.
Courtney don't want to know about your date.
Yeah.
Courtney's just like,
Usman.
tell me what was
No, I don't.
Jen's hit me up and is inviting me to just have dinner with her at her room. I feel like Cole definitely kind of tanked it.
I did spend the night with Rob, but nothing really happened like sexual. We didn't even make it out. We didn't even kiss.
This is starting to get a little messy, and I don't want to end up like some other people here whose name I won't mention.
We're now at episode 7 of Hunt for Love, and I think that everybody's forcing it. Forcing conversations, forcing confessions, forcing connections. Everybody's forcing it. And as much as it is entertaining, it must be painful. Let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome back to Nikki Faces Reality. We are here to discuss 90 Day Hunt for Love. This is a recap of the episode with all of my commentary, of course, intertwined. We're gonna jump straight in. Before we do, as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You know the drill. And y'all, we pick up at the workshop from hell. They were supposed to be here to discuss social media posts, but the hot topic in the resort is Jennifer and who is in her pants. So we pick up with Colt basically just on her, like he won't let this go because again, he is caping hard for Elise. He's like, who are you sleeping with? Are you gonna go down the line? People can want Jennifer to be honest, but I think that they're dancing on the line of slut shaming, and that's not cool. Everyone is here to get it in. Sorry that y'all aren't. I think that it really comes down to people being jealous. They're not getting as much play as her, and they don't have stories to tell, so they're digging up dirt on hers. So Jen is like, listen, this is getting out of hand. I am here to date around. I am within my rights to date whoever I want, to sleep with whoever I want. I am not married. I don't have ties to be loyal to anyone. And that triggered something in Cole. And so Cole opens his mouth to be like, don't talk about loyalty. I think he misheard what she said. But she's like, I don't want to hear it. You're so controlling. And he's like, you're gaslighting. Gaslighting is when someone warps your reality in the way that she won't own up to the truth. Yes, you could say that she's gaslighting him because they're having this conversation about being transparent. You are within your rights to date whoever you want. And so because you have that, why not own it fully? No one needs to know the specifics of what you and Rob do. So I can understand what he's saying by that. But I also agree with her that I think that he's showing some really weird signs of possession, of control. So both can be true. And if we're honest, he started showing those qualities way before she even hooked up with Rob. So I said it in the last recap. I think that he's going about this in all of the wrong ways. And she looks irked by him. She's like, you're acting like the victim right now too, while everyone is throwing daggers at me. Like, I need space from you because I don't respect people that act like victims. And Jen has a very specific image of what masculinity means to her. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Overall, this roast session is just so juvenile because they are all grown-ups. People are allowed to do grown-up things, yet everyone is here talking about it like they're middle schoolers at camp. And again, this is another example of Rob practicing restraint because Colt was coming at him crazy for someone that has no skin in the game. He has nothing to do with it. And he was in his face yelling. And in his confessional, Rob is like, I know that the man that had his nudes leak while in a relationship is not coming at me acting like he's holier than thou. And I'm just wondering if this is like the most salacious thing that is happening with all of these grown single people, because Tiffany can't stop talking about it either. As they're leaving the area, she's just like, Jen admitted that they slept together, but they didn't sleep together. I don't think so. And I just want to call out, I like you, girl, but you need to start focusing on your endeavors and who you sleep with, which is no one at this point. You're just stirring up the pot. And I want to call out, Tiffany was the person that was next door that heard Rob hooking up with someone. Okay? That happened first. Second thing that happened, Elise is saying that everyone is saying that she's sleeping with Rob. Who heard Rob having relations? Tiffany, which means Tiffany was all over the campgrounds telling people that she heard Rob and Elise. And then she felt like a tutara when she found out that it wasn't Elise, it was Jennifer. And instead of coming clean to Elise and being like, girl, I'm so sorry, I thought that it was you, and I told one too many people, she's acting surprised in front of Elise's face. So if Elise is gonna have issues with anyone, it should be with Tiffany, who spread that. And I'm also starting to think, Tiffany girl, is it because you like Rob? Because if you see her in the clips in between the sheets, I feel like she has a crush on him, and maybe that would explain her hyperfixation on the situation. But anyway, y'all, this is over, right? Jen is walking away. Cole runs after her to be like, hey, I just want to see where we're at. Did you not hear when she told you that she needs space from you? I think that that's clear enough. And she looks at him and she's like, I don't really want to talk to you right now. You just stood there when everyone was attacking me. So no, I don't really feel like talking to you. Maybe we can try again tomorrow with a professional. And she rolls her eyes and walks off. And he's there looking like a puppy dog. And I just don't buy the act at all. And then she has a moment with the producers where she's like, you know, I want to F Rob and I want to marry Cole. And that's why I'm taking my time. And I could take my time until the last day and no one could say anything about it. And then she walks off for good. And I'm like, she said what she said. I just feel like if you want to have fun with Rob, have fun with Rob. If you want to have fun with Cole, have fun with Cole. You should not marry Cole. Cole, you'll eat him alive. You'll eat him for breakfast. And or you'll be with him long enough to see the mask fall. So it's just not worth it, okay? Now I want to get into the little dates. So initially we see Chantel go on her date with Joe. And they're walking hand in hand. And I'm like, oh my God, so cute. But right behind them is Usman and Nikki. So this is a double date. And I'm like, okay, this worries me. I hope that they don't spend too much time together. Because after all, word on the street, even from Chantel's mouth, Tim had to talk Joe into finally stepping up to Chantel. So I don't know if he is just doing this for camera or if he really likes her but wasn't sure on how to proceed. It was just worrisome to see a double date right off the bat. And just to sum up their date, they're at this beer garden, specifically like a beer spa. I've never heard of that before, but apparently beer is good for your skin, for your hair. And it looks like a bubble bath, but it's a beer bath. It's a super gorgeous place, super intimate. I think maybe a little too intimate for a first date, but they are jumping in. Chantel, when we saw her first season, she was always like, you know, skinny, small waist, big boobs. But over time, they really are flotation devices. When she came out in her bathing suit, I was like, girl, you are going to float away. And she almost did. But you know, that was an opportunity for him to get cozy. And initially they start on opposite sides. But eventually they're like canoodled side to side. I think he's so gorgeous. I think he looks like a biracial Chris Martin. Do you guys see it? And I don't know, you guys. I think that they're very attractive. I want them to have some fun. But there isn't a lot of depth here. At least they didn't show much. The most that they discussed was whether she dated younger, whether he dated older. They both confirmed that they have. And then they kiss. And she recoils a little bit, but not in the way that like she has the ick, more so that she's nervous and he peeps that and like tries to make her feel comfortable. So it's cute, but I don't know if I buy that there is real like passion here. We see Usman and Nikki on their date, and I think this is a lot for a first date. They're having a spiritual cleanse. And then there's a pool, and I guess no one told her to pack a bathing suit. So she goes in with her full outfit set. And Usman is down, you know? He's like, she's cute, she's open, sure, like let me talk her ear off. And I don't know if the producer asked her to ask this because it just seemed like off. But she's like, what's your marriage culture in Nigeria? And he's like, oh, well, you know, where I'm from, you can have up to 4 wives, but, you know, I just want one. And she's like, okay, I'm just asking because I'm bisexual. Usman has no idea what bisexual is. And it was funny at first because I'm like, wait, what is he thinking that she's saying? Because he was like, oh, so if we're boyfriend and girlfriend, if we're intimate, like, how would we go about it? And now that I think of it, I think he thought that she was saying that she's trans or something. Like, so he was trying to figure out like her body parts, but even that would be off to ask, I think, on camera. He's just very ignorant to the topic and he owns it. And he's like, yeah, there's not much that I know about this, but if I'm gonna date outside of my culture, like, there are things that I'm going to compromise on and there's things that I'm going to have to learn. But it's very clear that he doesn't feel like being with someone that's bisexual is for him, which is fine. And then he's like, yeah, so it's not a fit. And maybe now that I know that, and maybe once Courtney finds out that I asked another girl on a date, maybe that'll make her be jealous and give me attention. That is the most toxic trail of thoughts. So now we're at a group hangout, you guys. And I enjoy the group hangouts the most because, one, you get to see more of the singles. And two, I feel like that's when you get most of the tea, okay? We initially see Courtney, Tim, and Elise. Apparently, Courtney has been in her room all day long. She was visibly absent from the social media workshop. And she's like, yeah, my social media is fine. I make a lot of money off of it, especially my feet pics. Link in bio. And I was like,
I don't need somebody to critique my social media. My feet pics alone got me followers and plenty of money. Link in my bio.
And I was like, you know what? That's smart, actually, to just plug it in while you're on TV. I'm sure she's going to make so much. But Elise then fills in Courtney on all of the drama. Of course, Courtney's like, okay, but did Jennifer sleep with Rob? And Elise is like, well, apparently not sleep. And one thing leads to another, and Elise is like, oh yeah, Chantel is on a date with Joe, and so is Nikki and Usman. And Courtney is like, I'm sorry. I have been begging this man to take me out on a date. He's been telling everybody with ears that I am his number one, that he's in love with me, and he takes another girl out before me. She's pissed. So she's looking at this big picture and she's like, has Usman been lying? Because he hasn't told me he's had another connection. He just won't stop talking about me. Everyone can see it. Yet he goes out of his way to not take me. Rude, right? Tiffany, we see her come in with that guy Carlos. They look like they've been spending a lot of time together. But I'm like, he already told you he doesn't want to be with someone that has kids. Why are you wasting your time? Unless it's just fun. And she claims that she's leaving herself open to date around, but I'm like, are you? Then we see Chantel come in. She's bubbly. She looks like Barbie. She looks amazing. Joe sees her. He's calling her babe left and right. And I'm like, okay, Chantel, I'm gonna need you to wake it up. And there's a moment that Tiffany and Courtney and all the girls want to know if Chantel and Joe kissed, and she said that she would tell them on the side. Did you guys peep how they turned to the singles and the girlies were like laughing? And I don't know, because I can understand how people may not like Chantel. She comes off standoffish, but then like the more you see her, you're like, oh, she's just awkward and shy. So I wonder if she's been able to make friends with people, and or it could just be complete editing, trying to make them look like mean girls. You just never know. But I just thought that that was so intentional that they panned to those girls in that moment.
I'm gonna ask you in private then.
Okay, let's go.
All right.
Girl talk, girl talk, girl talk.
Okay.
When you say comfy.
So Chantel begins talking about the date, and Courtney's like, yeah. But did Usman and Nikki do the same thing as you? And obviously, she just wants to know, did they get up close and personal too? Like, she's fuming in the most calm, Courtney way that she could fume. And Tiffany brings up a good point. Maybe he's retaliating because he saw that you were, building something with Colt, which is just, again, fragile ego. But it seems like everybody is here except, of course, Rob and Jen. I think that they felt cornered in the recent workshop, and so they're not there. And of course, everybody, Tiffany, is speculating that they must be together. And they're not wrong, because I don't know if it's editing or if it was while this was happening, but Jen hit up Rob to come have dinner in her room. And when she opened the door, she had this little short robe. So they're not wrong this time, but also let them be. Usman comes in, Chantels like, ooh, Courtney's mad at you. And he's like, oh, she's mad? Deep down, he's loving it. And he's like, she was giving attention to Colt. What was I supposed to do? You were supposed to put in effort. But it's so obvious that he thinks that she should be chasing him because he's so used to these grannies chasing him. That's not how dating works. And clearly you are capable of courting because you went out of your way to do that for Nikki. Do you see how that's a slap in the face to Courtney? So they eventually have a moment to talk, and she's like, oh my God, how was your date? Did you sing her a song? Which I thought was so shady. Loved it. And he's like, oh, I didn't mean to hurt you. And she's like, you tell everybody and their mother that you like me, yet you wouldn't take me on a date. And he's like, oh, well, I saw that you were giving attention to Colt, more attention than me. And I'm like, wait a second. That's not true. I think that he sees them interact more because Colt, I don't even like Colt, but Colt asks her questions. He makes an effort to get to know her. He doesn't just stand like a light pole and wait for her to come to him. He finds pockets and opportunities to make her laugh. Usman obviously wants to be chased, and that's not what they're there for. It's supposed to be a mutual exchange, mutual interest. They pan to the group, and Colt is watching all of this, okay? And Tim asks Colt, oh my God, I heard that Usman pressed you. What was that about? And Colt is like, oh, because I was talking to Courtney. We're, developing a friendship, and he felt threatened by it. And so he's watching from afar. Courtney and Usman have this, conversation, and he's like, you know what? She has so much respect for herself. She's not going to give him a chance after the move that he pulled tonight. And I wish he was right, because Usman does ask her on the date, and she's like, well, I felt like I have to force you. And he's like, no, you're not forcing me. I love you. I want to do this for you. And just giving her a lot of lip service, but she falls for it, y'all. And I'm like, oh, Colty, you're here telling people I know her. She's tough. She's smart. Meanwhile, and he's telling everyone, yeah, let's watch him get rejected. And this guy, Jay, who's in the group, one of the singles, he's like, well, you can't talk about rejection because you got rejected by May. And Colt is like, well, let's see, who are you going out with? Since you have so many prospects. And on the spot, this guy asks out Tiffany. Apparently, this is going to stir up some drama with Carlos in the next episode. But I thought that was bold of him to do that. And again, I can't believe I felt bad for Colt, because here's yet another person with a date, and he's in the negatives. And to add insult to injury, he sees Courtney and Usman walk off, right? And at first, it looks like Courtney's trying to get away silently, but Usman wants to just wave the flag that he won. And he's like, good night, everyone. So all eyes can turn in their direction. And Colt is just like, damn, I think I lost her. So basically everyone's leaving paired off. We see Chantel get walked to her room by Joe. Okay, have fun. So anyway, Usman walks Courtney to her door. He doesn't force himself for a sleepover this time. They just hug it out. She refuses to kiss him until she feels that he's earned it. And good luck with that, Courtney, okay? We also see Joe walk Chantel to her room. They're cute, but I'm still not feeling the passion. So hopefully we see more about that. And then the next day, we see Tiffany have a little debrief with Tim and then Rob about all of these prospects that she suddenly has. And she specifically is like, I just don't want to be messy like some people. And I'm like, girl, you are not exempt from drama. I feel like these kind of situations breed them. And I just feel like Jen is doing it a different way and probably got ahead of you. But I think that everyone, in one way or another, is in a mess of their making. I don't know. I was just like, girl, you can talk about what's happening with you without dragging another woman. Like, don't make me not like you. Use that charisma for good. But okay, y'all, the final scene is with Jen and Cole, I guess having like a one-on-one with one of the coaches. And Jen, I feel like Cole is gonna watch all of this back one day and hate himself because she said so much by saying so little. She's like, oh, you had a good night? Yeah, I had a good night. I feel rested. We saw who she was resting with, okay? She's honestly such a good reality TV villain because how are you just lying? Just like, they do have a little debrief about the workshop. She felt attacked. She said that her feelings were hurt to hear that people have this perception of her, that every time she's not around, she must be with Rob. And she says something that's interesting to me. She's like, I gravitate towards Rob because he doesn't like to be in the drama. He makes me feel comfortable. And I feel like Rob is always in the middle of a drama. But I can understand what she's saying in terms of he likes to be by himself. He's not always in the mix. And I could see that because I feel like Rob, separate from intimate relationships, isn't dramatic. I think we obviously saw the drama with Elise. But aside from that, like, he's just trying to be in his own world and people keep, finding issues with it. I would imagine if you're filming a show for hours with all of these strangers, you would be overstimulated. I personally recharge on my own. I love a rock day. And if I was in Tulum with nature, with a private pool and a nice ass suite, honey, y'all would see very little of me. So I get it. He's out and about mixy for the paycheck. When he doesn't need to be in it, he's not in it. And so Jen gravitates towards that. And Cole, Mr. Mousy Cole, is all up in the mess. And also stalking her. In between the sheets, you guys, he apparently, the night that Jen and Rob were in the pool, he apparently was on freaking Tiffany's, like, roof of her little cabana, spying on Jen. Yeah, he admitted to that. Can you imagine doing all of that after knowing someone for 2.5 days? I need her to run for the hills. And she's just breezing through all of those red flags. And she says that. She says it in this, session. She's like, I like Cole, but I feel like he's doing too much for someone that I've just met. We're not together. I'm allowed to date around. And I find his moves triggering because I've been in an abusive, toxic, controlling, possessive marriage where I felt like I was in a cage. And so that explains so much why she's such a free spirit and she just does whatever she feels. She follows her impulses. And he looks like a little offended, like, oh, like that's obviously not what I'm trying to do, but that is what you're doing. And in one end, I'm like, Jen, you should be completely transparent. But then on the other end, I'm like, no. You know that she's in this resort to date. You know that she's involved with someone. You don't need to know the intricacies of what exactly is going on. I only feel like she should be honest on whether or not she had sex with Rob if she's about to have sex with Cole. That's a level of intimacy and vulnerability that at that point you're like, okay, I do need to tell you this. But if y'all are just dry humping and making out, no, he doesn't need to know what you're doing with Rob. She was like, he does have some red flags that are worrisome, but, as humans, we have, all this range, and he has so many other qualities that I love and I could see myself with. And I'm like, girl, you need to trust your gut. You feel what you feel for a reason. And I feel like she is forcing it with this man. For what? He's not going to stop thinking about you and Rob. He's not going to stop asking you questions about you and Rob. And they kind of like agree to disagree that like, he's going to be upset to know that she could be exploring this connection. But he is going to give her space to do what she needs to do. And he just expects, transparency as they navigate that. Because while she's here to openly date, he's just focused on her. And again, unprovoked, this girl is like, I guess I slept with Rob, but like we didn't even make out. We didn't even kiss. So it's like, And that is what I mean, that I'm like, oh, that's going to be painful for him, because you could have just not said anything about your intimacy with Rob and left it to his imagination. But for you to be like, we didn't do this, and there's footage to show that you have, I can't defend you there, girlie. And then all of a sudden, while they're having this heart-to-heart, they hear sirens. It's an ambulance at the resort. Literally everyone starts running towards it. And Courtney is crying. And we don't see who is hurt or anything. And then it drops. So we'll see next week. But that's that for this episode, you guys. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I will see you in the next one.